Good evening, everyone. The reaction of so many people today was, oh no, not again.
If you are just joining us, two young men apparently dressed in long black trench coats opened fire about an hour and a half ago.
Okay, so before I continue into the series review of Doom, I have to touch upon a major event in history that somehow ties into the video game franchise I've been talking about. Here we go. April 20th, 1999, nearly 5 years since the release of Doom 2, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold made their way to school. They attended Columbine High School. What followed was a near hour-long assault on anyone they came across from 11:10 a.m. to 12:08 p.m. Both Eric and Dylan killed themselves to end the rampage. 24 are injured, 12 students and a teacher are dead alongside the 2 that committed suicide. The reason I bring this up is because once the events ended, the one question that rang through many that were in and out of the school was, why? Sifting through Eric and Dylan's history, both online and offline, reports showed that Eric created a website that hosted Doom WADs. This gave people that were against violent video games an excuse to scream out that these two well-adjusted boys were corrupted by the blood, gore, guts, and evil that these games show off. Do I think Doom was the cause? No. That's all I need to say. This was a tragic event with multiple factors that could have set Dylan and Eric off to do as they've done, but the fact is we'll never truly know what caused it. It's been 17 years since the debacle, and the time I spent doing a little digging into it made me choke up a bit. I'm sorry for this minor derailment, but to me this needed to be addressed in some way before I moved on down the line of Doom's history. And now that we're past it, let's get back into the swing of things. Doom 64 rang as the last vestige of the franchise for some time. It was off working on Quake, and eventually, as the years passed and the team broke apart, we'd be graced by John Romero's Daikatana. Rumors kept cropping around on the occasion of a Doom sequel ever since 2000, at the start of its development. Finally, it came. On August 3rd, 2004, Doom 3 was released. The game was set to be scare-filled with darkened rooms and shadows like the previous games before it. The setting was just right to keep you nervous if you go room to room. Then a cutscene would happen.
Welcome to Mars. First time? You can just leave your bag there. I'll have it sent up your quarters. Okay, there's a few things we need to take care of first. This is your personal data assistant.
You gained access to so many weapons like you would in the original Doom. Along with the weapons is the addition of a flashlight that could only be reached when you put your gun away. This added further tension in very dark rooms where you couldn't see in front of you and the threat of a demon or zombie nearby was always present. Then a cutscene would happen. There was even a story that revolved around Doom 3 that was very much like the one made in the Doom Bible, and that could be effectively told. The teleportation technology of the UAC has made contact with Hell, and the lead scientist is in control of it. Then a cutscene would happen. Okay, I know I'm harping on the cutscenes of Doom 3, but allow me to explain why cutscenes and Doom should not mix. I'm all for a game to explain itself in multiple ways. In-game text, audio logs, cutscenes, they're fine. If they're done right. Doom isn't the kind of game that will stop and give you time to listen in on Scientist Jimmy's field report that you got from a disc that you passed by. Doom is a game that is going to come at you with all it's got. You have a destination, and there are demons in the way. What's so difficult about that? But I want to show off how terrifying the monsters are! Just let me keep you pinned in one spot and not move! Sit in the corner now! You know what the first enemy in Doom is? It's a zombie with a gun. When in the game where you forcibly stop to watch the zombie pull itself up from the dead marine beside it and then growl at you, Answer is you don't. Doom had only one way of introducing enemies at you, and that was just by having it be there. You didn't need to see how it moved or how strong it was just there. I wouldn't complain about the cutscenes, audio logs, emails, and all that if it made the story interesting, but even that isn't enough to justify it. So what are the strengths of Doom 3? It was graphically impressive for its time. The lighting was just dark enough to allow you to appreciate the lingering effects of whatever light you did have at your advantage. When characters spoke, their jaws didn't yammer wildly, it reacted accordingly to what was said. Interactivity with computers in the lockers as well added another dimension of gameplay on top of what was already in front of you. But let's look at the weaknesses. How about the fact that each level you go through feels the same? It's all metallic, and it's all hallways. The guns didn't feel impactful against the enemies you fired at, especially the shotgun. And the cutscenes! Oh my god, the cutscenes are I just can't get over how dull Doom 3 is. Where is the game that you could literally sprint everywhere as you fired a machine gun wildly? Where's the game where you could move in and out of buildings without risk of suffocation? Where's the game that balances both the scares and the fun? And that's my problem with Doom 3. Once you get over the impressive graphics and lighting, you have a game that can be played only once. And that's it. There's no replayability at all. What kind of game do you have where the jump scares are always going to be in the same place? What kind of game do you have where you're very much into the action and then you're forcibly stopped by a cutscene for no reason? A boring and unfun kind of game. Kind of appropriate to its tie-in movie then, eh? Alright, this is not going to be the first time I'll do this in regards to movies, but I'm going to give you potted information about the movie via screenshot. I'd show off the movie, but there's a few things in my way, besides copyright being a thing. I don't want to waste money to go out and rent Doom. I'm not going to support a movie that is actively terrible at being what it says on the title. Actually, let's look over the DVD cover for a second, okay? First off, I have to get this out of the way.
If you smell what the Rock is cooking.
Yeah, so The Rock is front and center on the cover, so that must mean he's going to be our Doom guy / Flynn Taggart / faceless space marine, right? Wrong! It's this guy. Off the side here. That's the main protagonist. First off, no! Bad cover. You're a bad cover for a movie. How dare you make me believe that I'm going to see The Rock as a hero mindlessly gunning down hordes of undead and demons? That's only on the surface. When you start scratching further, you'd find out he turns to the main bad guy. When I say turn, I mean he actually turns into the bad guy. May as well start off by saying that at first, things look fine. A group of Marines are called to a UAC Mars base to handle a situation. Few things to note. This movie takes place the year 2046, or what I will now dub as the Super Future. In the Super Future, expect the following. 1. LED games make a comeback. 2. The Marine Corps get lax on who is considered to be able to serve active duty. This includes religious nuts that actively cut themselves, barely trained and drug-addicted young men, individuals who don't remember the rule in arms training that states, "Don't point your gun at your fellow Marine." 3. Guns can now register who is the one wielding them and calls out name and rank. 4. No spaceships to travel through space. We're bypassing that for teleportation technology. From here, things start getting flaky, like the fact that this guy in a wheelchair is called Pinky. And because it's a movie tie-in to Doom 3, this is what the guy's going to look like. Convenient. Oh yeah, that talk of people being transformed is actually a thing. I haven't spoken about the Marine team, but if I said Predator, you'd know what to expect. Each one is going to die off until it's The Rock and Dr. McCoy. Dr. McCoy's character is called John Grimm, and his parents died in an accident at the archaeological dig at Mars. Oh boo-hoo, feel sympathetic for the Marine that chose to lead his life behind a gun instead of being a scientist. So they teleport to Mars and allow me to explain why this is bullshit. With Doom, there was only one thing that hardcore fans knew about the story of Doom, and that was teleporters are a bad idea! Even in Doom 3, they make that the focal point of where hell is coming from. You are teleporting people from Earth all the way to Mars! What's up, movie? Are you too cool for spaceships in your future? That's not even my main gripe with this, it's the fact that it exists. Even more so, how do you expect anyone to know that the destination was Mars? Oh sure, you say that archaeologists found it, but explain to me how anyone survived the teleportation to Mars, and on top of that, how did anyone survive on Mars? It's a planet with no oxygen! I need to press forward, we could be here for, oh good lord, years if I'm given the chance. So they're on Mars now and go hunting for a killer creature. At first they come across the zombified versions of some of the scientists before the creatures start showing up. And one by one, the Marines are taken down over time. During this, we're told about humanoid bones found on Mars, which means that something lived on the surface and it had a 24th chromosome. What could it possibly mean? I wonder if this is going to be crucial to the plot. I know I don't want to use clips, but keep this one in your pocket.
Is there any way this thing came from the outside, from the surface?
The planet is completely dead.
It came from somewhere, lady.
Portman, shut up.
The atmosphere on the surface can't support life.
Maybe it doesn't need air. It could have come from another planet or something.
What, like an alien?
No, like the humanoid Martian that you have in a glass case, i.e. a Martian, aka an alien. Understand I don't want to talk more about this movie than I want to, so if it feels like I'm cutting out large chunks of the movie, you'd be right. I'm cutting out over 40 minutes of non-activity and jump scares in an hour and 45-minute movie. Alright, so there's the BFG, right? Anyone who's played Doom knows what the BFG is. It is a room-clearing demon dealer that lets out a sweet sound of plasma justice. The gun is only used twice in the movie, and it hits nothing! Twice! There's a scene where The Rock, who's sick of his team getting picked off, goes to the scientist lady and yells at her about the monsters. She hopes, and I heavily put quotations around hopes, that there is a way to reverse the transformation process into monsters. The Rock's response?
It's irreversible.
Not necessarily.
Dr. Carmack's condition is irreversible. Because Carmack's condition is that he's dead.
This is the only good scene in the movie, and why I want to believe The Rock is the hero and not Doc McCoy. This is what the Doom Marine would do in the games. His friends and comrades have been possessed and trying to kill him, not if he has anything to say about it. But no, this is the scene where the audience has to be shocked and go, oh, he may have went too far. Oh, but here's where Doom fans are given the largest middle finger for being someone that dared have a basic grasp on the story of Doom. So the UAC was testing on the 24th chromosome and I'll just let it explain itself.
Lucy had the 24th chromosome, but she wasn't a monster. She died protecting her child, not devouring it. Why did the same chromosome that made her superhuman turn Stahl into a monster? There are genetic markers for psychotic and violent behavior. It could be a specific neurotransmitter it's picking up on. A ganglion, latching onto numbers in the DNA code linked...
Linked to what? Evil?
10% of the human genome is still unmapped. Some say it's the genetic blueprint for the soul.
How? How? No, seriously, how? How do you take a game about demons rising from hell and reach to the plot of Resident Evil? Okay, so let's just reach the end of this because I think I'm done. After a pretty decent FPS portion of the movie, The Rock and Dr. McCoy have a fight. Dr. McCoy wins and the movie ends. My head hurts. This is not a Double Dragon kind of situation where I could forgive the movie for budgetary reasons or for the fact that the franchise was on a downhill slope. For all the guff I gave to Doom 3, it was still pretty damn popular on its release. This? Doom the movie had $70 million in its budget. On the small side? Maybe. But it should be on the small side. What is so complicated about Demons from Hell? Oh, don't tell me it was because Event Horizon came out before it. Doom was released in 2005. Event Horizon came out in 1997. Even talks of the movie came back as early as 2003. You have no excuse! But no, can't have demons in space. On Mars. Like in the game you tie yourself with! I need to go into detail about the many, many dumb decisions done by these so-called Marines. Or the fact the movie throughout it kept referencing demons, hell, the Bible, and all that shit. You are a lying movie. You had no demons. Your story was completely different from Doom's. You took the name of the most iconic FPS of all time just to make quick cash before you pulled the hood over moviegoers' eyes. Film producer John Wells stated that if this movie was successful, a second movie would be put in the works. Did you really think this was going to be successful? Yeah, sure, we'll just reference hell and demons in the movie. They won't be able to figure out that the monsters are genetically altered humans. Guess what? First week it was out, the movie sold well. After the hoodwink was revealed, no one else watched it! If I, a simple person with access to internet articles and facts, can conceivably make a more faithful and possibly better script for a Doom movie, you have failed! Have to keep it together. I have to press on. I need to talk about other things besides the movie and Doom 3 Resurrection of Evil came out on April 3rd in retail, October 5th for Xbox, and finally August 4th, 2007 for Steam. Kind of stupid set of release dates, but whatever. Resurrection of Evil is a sequel to Doom 3, like Final Fantasy X2 is a sequel to Final Fantasy X. Oh god! Sorry about vomiting at the thought of going through a series review of Final Fantasy. Resurrection of Evil gets on my good side though by having Doom, Doom 2, and the Master levels packed with it. Thank the Lord above the classics managed to save this game from the worst side of the line. It adds the double-barreled shotgun and a grabber gun in its main game as well. It also removes the flashlight and now you can aim your guns in dark areas without having to put them away. Huzzah! Then the BFG version, which has all the Dooms. Doom, Doom 2, Doom 3, Resurrection of Evil, an additional mission called The Lost Mission. Really, it's a nice gesture to have it all in one spot and with better graphics and lights. It came out on October 16th, 2012. Oh, wow. I feel like I've rambled for some time. Namely about the movie. Let's go to the patented series review line and measure what is the best in the series in comparison to the worst. No competition, Doom the movie is awful. I don't recommend going out and watching it if you have a deep respect for Doom lore, or if you're just looking for a crap movie to watch. Doom 3 barely gets away from the books because it at least tried to keep close to the original story and didn't bring in aliens. Wow. Guess that's it. A down and end like this, with the movie and the subsequent Doom 3 nonsense. But maybe I'll